Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.Football on Twitter, at Mike Triplett, with us here every Thursday on AFR. Mike, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks for jumping on. Mike, I want to start with the injury report, actually, with the New Orleans Saints, because the way I put it at the top of the hour is it's been a long time since you could look at an injury report and go, man, the Saints are actually in better shape than their opponents.
Yeah, look, and I mean, there's some important ones. Last week was the first time they had their entire offensive line both start and finish a game. So I'm eager to see if this offense looks better once that offensive line is healthy and together. Do they actually run the ball and protect and get something going? But yeah, Chase Young has been back now for 2 weeks. It's about as good as it's probably looked this late into the season as it has been in several years around here.
For sure. The other interesting thing that I saw, I mean, Isaac Yiadom returns in a limited, but he has to deal with his contract and the snap count. Is there a chance the Saints actually put him out there on the field this weekend against Chicago?
Yeah, look, they might have to make a decision ultimately on that because it is such a weird scenario for a rebuilding team that's clearly stockpiling young players, and we don't know what they're going to do for sure at the trade deadline. But the fact that his playing time could directly cost them a fourth-round pick, yeah. I'd be pretty shocked if they let that happen. So I don't know if they'll try to trade him, work something out with him, grant him a release with a send-off, just keep him as a backup, and he'd be happy with that. I don't know, but look, they were already working Quincy Reilly into the mix even before he got hurt. So I am very curious to see how they manage it. But they have been so clearly aware that they're a rebuilding team, even with the way we saw them rotating Danny Stutzman and Isaiah Stolbert into the mix to get them snaps last week. So that one's a unique one, but I think they're aware of it.
Mike, do you think you mentioned Stutzman and Isaiah Stolbert? What do you think that means for Pete Werner, if anything?
I'm going to take them at their word when they say they've got some young players that they really like and that they know in the NFL that, somebody's going to get hurt and they're going to have to play at some point, so they don't want them having 0 snaps a game until that day one day comes. So they're giving them 6 snaps a game here and there. That's smart. It's like I said, it's what they did with Riley earlier this season. It's what they did with Sanker before he became a full-time player. Of course, you wonder in the back of your mind, are they shopping Pete Werner? And that's also a possibility, but I don't think it's inevitable. But, they're a team that now with some of the trades they've made and with the playing time they've been given, they're acting like a team that knows that it's got young players that it wants to get on the field.
One guy that I think many want to see get on the field is Devon Vele. And, Mike, I'd love to know where you are with this because, that's a guy who Kellen Moore has raved about since they acquired him, and the presence that he can provide as a big target down in the red zone, in the middle of the field, all of those things, and it's always been an onboarding process. And we're 6 weeks into this thing. You're going into Game 7. He has been very, very underutilized, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. And look, Kellen Moore did say we should have seen some warning flags when he said it. When they first traded for him, he compared it to the Eagles trading for Jahan Dotson last year, right around the same time of year, the former first-round pick that they got from Washington. And Dotson played a very big role for the Eagles. He said, you're going to give him a few packages early on and then gradually increase that role as the season goes on. So, that you look at that blueprint and you're seeing kind of the same thing. They didn't just immediately say, all right, you're our number one red zone target now. But yeah, it's been very disappointing considering the cost to acquire him that they're willing to basically treat him the same as they're treating like Mason Tipton right now in their offense. It's such a small role right now. You wish it was bigger. But then again, we talked about the injury report. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandon Cooks haven't missed a snap, so there also hasn't been an opportunity from that standpoint either. But, yeah, I think it's something that's incumbent on the coaches to get him more involved, especially when you are one of the worst red zone teams in the NFL. there's one of the possible solutions right there.
I mean, that kind of is the thing, right? I mean, and you said it, it's not like he was going to come in and be the red zone target immediately, but I mean, you saw Taysom Hill in the running game, back in that position in the red zone. You got a touchdown off of that, but I mean, the big target, and you've seen it from Vele at points already this season. They've thrown the ball down there to him, and it's resulted in points. It's one of the more head-scratching things, I think, with this team right now. You mentioned Chris Olave, and Mike, I'd love to know where you are right now with Olave. I mean, a guy who fancies himself as a number one. They picked up the option on him to try and make him the number one, and the returns this year just haven't been up to that of a number one.
Yeah, look, I'm in the middle of writing an Olave story that's going to post within the hour probably, and I mean, I'm saying he's so close. We got to talk to him today. He's so close to having the season he wants, and obviously, obvious play on words after the last game. It's just outside of his grasp. He's second in the NFL in targets this year, only one behind Puka Nacua. So he'll probably be first in the NFL in targets after this weekend. He's close to top 10 in catches, but it's not the money plays. It's not happening in the end zone. It's not winning games. It's not deep down the field. It's one touchdown all season. It's missed opportunities to make these, like, are you Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or aren't you? Because that's the class you want to be in. Now, look, he did acknowledge that he was shaking off some rust after missing the last 8 games of last season, and took him a little while to find his rhythm. He thought he was finding it in this game, and it felt like his best game. And then those drops ruined everything. But there's still the possibility that he's rounding into form. So I'm certainly not going to give up on him. But it's been frustrating that it hasn't happened sooner or more consistently. No doubt about it.
Do you think there's a possibility that he's a trade candidate for the Saints come the deadline? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that makes some of the money guys tougher decisions as trade candidates is if they ever become free agents, you get the comp picks for them. So, I don't think Olave is the kind of guy that you would trade for a 4th-round pick, and I think he could be a big part of your future. I don't know if teams are offering 2nd-round picks right now. I would think they would have to consider that if teams are, but I don't know that teams are. So that's kind of a weird conundrum. He's definitely not a trade and get whatever you can for him guy, though. He's only trade if you're getting something special in return for him.
Mike, you were around the team a lot all the time, especially this week. I know you had some locker room availability here today. You sense any extra juice with the club with Dennis Allen on the other sideline this week?
Not necessarily. I actually think the juice would come from him, right?
Yeah?
He's the one who got fired by this team. He's the one who probably would like to shut them down, I think, if it was going to be one or the other. But I think the familiarity, I can't even say that word, will definitely play a part. I mean, they've been going against each other in practice. They've been playing the chess game against each other for years. They're going to recognize some of his tricks, especially guys like Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave, or guys who've been here for 3 or 4 years, Eric McCoy, who makes so many important decisions at the front of that offense. So I think the gamesmanship aspect of it will add an intrigue to it. But if there was somebody who had a revenge game in mind, it'd be the guy in Chicago.
All right. I feel like Kendre Miller might have a little extra juice for this one, Mike.
Excellent, fair point.
If there's one guy at number 5 might be wanting to make a statement this week. Last one, Mike. Your time very much appreciated. Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.Football. Get him on Twitter X at Mike Triplett. Spencer Rattler. I've been thinking all day really kind of how to ask you this without putting it all on Spencer Rattler because it's not all on him. But, man, they've had opportunities at the end of games to either go down and tie or go down and take the lead. Is Spencer Rattler in this offense close to accomplishing that, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I just said about Olave. I think Rattler just had his best game of the season this last week, and it's just missing the home runs. Like he's like a 300 hitter who's getting on base a lot, who's hitting singles and doubles. And just not quite, the red zone or the game-winning drive or the deep touchdown. Obviously, they got their first one to Shaheed a week ago, and then they had this 53-yard catch to Olave at the beginning of this game. But it also feels close. It also feels like it's getting closer each week. He's just in such a unique circumstance because he's playing for a 1-5 team that might end up with a top 3 pick next year, and they have the second-round pick in the building. That it feels like he's up against some sort of deadline pressure as opposed to being a guy who has a year or two to keep growing. But that's also us looking at it from the outside. Maybe this team has seen enough to say, yeah, we are going to spend the next year or two developing this guy, because that wouldn't be crazy either. But yeah, it's hard for us looking from the outside, analyzing him. Is he enough, or do you need more? He's not playing bad enough to be down on him, but he's not making those exceptional plays that just say, that's it, they got their guy. Like, he's not making, he hasn't had the Drake May game that we just saw in the Superdome yet. But it feels like he's in that neighborhood. We're just waiting to see it.
It's a weird sort of limbo with this entire team right now, because there are signs of optimism, but not quite what you want to see to be like, oh, wait a minute now, they're trending very much in the right direction. It'll be interesting to see Sunday up there in Chicago. Mike, we appreciate the time. As always, y'all go to NewOrleans.Football, get subscribed, read his stuff, the Chris Olave piece that's coming out here later tonight, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.